Hello and welcome back for another episode of the Hesse Bros podcast. It's your host, Brent Hesse, joining me, little bro Luke Hesse, fresh off a big college game day pop for the IU Hoosiers. And of course, the Lions just running up the score on everybody. Meanwhile, for me, Chiefs still undefeated, just boring but winning. Oh my goodness, they only scored 27 points. Can't score 30 points. What do they do? Well, they just win games. And that's what we're going to be talking about. Chiefs and Lions and the rest of the NFL, as we're pretty much at or close to the midway point of the season, Luke. Wow, how are you doing?
It's flying by. I'm doing great. And like you said, Brent, these Chiefs and Lions, they just keep separating themselves from the rest of the teams. And it looks like it might be a collision course for February. We got a long time to go, a lot of football to play until we get there. I'm excited to see it. How about them Hoosiers, though? You gotta love it. You gotta love what they're doing out there. Honestly, I never thought this day would come. If you had told me when I was a freshman 3 years ago the Lions would be up like this and the Hoosiers football, would have never believed it. But I guess that's what happens whenever you got a diehard fan on your side.
Uh, Special times for sure. Make sure to enjoy them, Luke. And let's start talking about some of the games that we enjoyed on this last NFL Sunday. And we'll even go back to Thursday because, wow, woo wee. What a great pick by me. Rams over Vikings. That was a good one. Rams are looking strong. Vikings, are we worried about the Vikings at all? Or are they still the number one threat to the Lions in the North?
Well, I don't think they're the number one threat with what Green Bay's been doing, but they're still going to be a solid team. Probably going to be in the playoffs. Uh, they're definitely looking strong. Having two losses against two tough teams in that short amount of time. But I think this game was more about the Rams. This is a this is a team that we saw at the end of last year starting to get hot when they had Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua, and then that all just got thrown to the wayside after week one and week two. Whenever those two players both go down, now we're starting to see a resurgence from the Rams and more of the offense we were expecting. One of the more explosive offenses in the league.
And in a wide open division. So the Rams get it done. And then we move on to Sunday. Wow, where do we start on Sunday?
Well, we might as well start with the biggest play that there was with old Jaden Daniels getting it done against the Bears. Bears dude's taunting in the middle of the play. I mean, what is he doing? And then he says, "You know what? I actually do want to play defense this play. Put me in on defense. I'm done taunting. Let me jump up and bat it to the other team for the win." I mean, what is he
I
doing?
probably would have been better off just taunting the whole play. They probably would have won if he would have just been chirping the fans the whole play, huh?
Yeah, that was nuts. And it just goes to show the Commanders are here, Brent. We've called it all year long. The Commanders are one of the best teams. And even in a game like that where they definitely should have won, they outplayed the Bears the whole game. But then the Bears have two really good drives at the end of the game, and Swift has that long run. But the Commanders still find a way to get it done even without having a touchdown until that last play.
Yeah, my takeaway from that game is both these rookie quarterbacks still obviously developing. You would expect that as rookies. For Jaden Daniels, he was able to move the ball, but stalling out in the red zone, not being able to get touchdowns until, of course, the very last play. For Caleb, kind of the opposite. He just took forever to get going. He was really not able to move the ball at all in the first three quarters. But then the swift drive and then two great drives, like you mentioned, one of them, stupid play call at the 1 yard line, turnover. Then they do it all over again and he's still able to lead the team down for what should have been a game-winning drive. So, of course, yeah, both these quarterbacks still have time to progress, not just this season, which I think they will, and these teams will be even better by postseason than they are right now. But of course, going forward in their careers, both teams fun to watch, both players fun to watch. I'm glad that I'm on both of them this season. I like the Washington still, and I have faith in the Bears. No faith lost in either of those teams. Somebody had to win, somebody had to lose, and no more dramatic way for it to go down than that. One game though that was also very dramatic in the opposite direction. How about those guys that eat the W's and Jameis Winston taking down the Ravens? Wow.
That was awesome. And it definitely shows that the Ravens have a great offense, but whenever it comes to their defense, especially their secondary, it's looking a lot like the Lions secondary from last year where you can just throw all over them. And as we've seen, that's not a good recipe for success late in the year. So I'm a little worried about these Ravens, even with that firepower on offense.
Yeah, so many missed opportunities for the Ravens. They were terrible on third down throughout the course of the game, something like 2 for 12. And then Justin Tucker misses another field goal, could have tied it up in the fourth quarter. Kyle Hamilton drops a wide open interception that would have sealed it. Rashad Bateman drops a wide open third down that would have kept the drive alive and could have given them the lead. So the Ravens, so many miscues, still had a chance on the final play to potentially win the game. But yeah, definitely a disappointing loss for the Ravens. I mean, I was never gonna say the Ravens were the best team in the AFC. Plenty of people were. Plenty of people were saying, "Oh my goodness, look how much they can score on everybody. How are they not? You know, they've got 2 MVP candidates. Wow, great team. Don't get me wrong, but flawed team, and that shows right there. Those are the kind of mistakes that we've been accustomed to the Ravens making come January. So just a little bit to keep an eye out for. And now they're not even first place in their own division because Russ continues to cook with the Steelers. I don't really think there's much to talk about with the Steelers right now, but they've got a good record and something that the Ravens are going to have to claw out from just if they even want to win their own division.
That's for sure. And just looking at that 1 o'clock window last week, what an absolute great time to be an NFL fan. All those games were coming down to the wire, and you didn't know which way a lot of them were going to go. I mean, Jets game absolutely down to the wire. Jaguars versus Packers game winning field goal. Same with the Cardinals game. I mean, holy cow, how many games can come down to the very wire? And even the Colts game, they had a chance to drive down and win it. That's what we love about the NFL. It really a lot of times just comes down to that fourth quarter. It doesn't get much more exciting than that. What a
Yeah,
week.
it was very nerve wracking for me and for my DraftKings account as well. Cardinals, of course, popped for me. That was massive. But unfortunately, I needed the Ravens to win, and I had the Packers. Poor Packers lost me by half a point, so that was a little painful. But yeah, absolutely, big games coming down to the wire. One that didn't though, the Detroit Lions. What is that team doing? They're just doesn't matter if Goff doesn't throw the ball; they'll just say we'll just have special teams touchdowns and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Motor City, you'd think we need to be able to drive to win. I guess we don't have to. Goff puts up 80 yards for the game, and we put up 52 points. I mean, that's got to be some type of record. And yeah, we're still just putting
The
a trick
passing
play out
yard
there every
ratio,
day.
you might be
Yeah,
onto something,
yard to point ratio. I don't think you can get much better than that. I mean, come on.
right?
And we gave up, and we didn't even try in the fourth quarter. We could have hung 70 on them easy.
Did the defense try in the first quarter? Mason Rudolph was looking elite.
No, yeah, Mason Rudolph was looking good, but I mean, it is what it is. You know, we're going to give up yards, and they got in the end zone a couple times. Yeah, let's keep it exciting for the fans, and then let's absolutely show them the whip whenever it comes to the second and third quarter. I mean, this running back duo, you don't really have to say much about it. Heck, they're a running back and quarterback duo. The way Monty threw that ball,
Yeah,
holy cow, bro! He could probably be playing for 5 teams right now in the league as their starting quarterback. I'd put him out there over freaking some of these other trash bags in the league. Why not?
well, I like that.
Bryce Young, you kidding me, bro? Put Demo out there.
I like your showing the whip reference Breeders' Cup weekend. And next, we'll move on to the Chiefs and the Raiders. First game back in Vegas, like I mentioned, since the Super Bowl, was really hyped up about this matchup just to see Mahomes really fired up. And there was some heat in this matchup. Of course, there always is when you've got a guy like the pass rusher that the Raiders have that's always getting in Mahomes' face, Max Crosby, talking, chirping, him and Travis Kelce going back and forth. Even Kareem Hunt's getting in on the action. And of course, Chiefs right down the field, first series. They get in with Kareem Hunt. I was hoping Mahomes would get some more passing touchdowns, but he finished with 2 passing touchdowns and over 250 yards. So it was really his best statistical game of the season in terms of yards and touchdowns overall. And Hopkins, first series, gets a big first down, picked up another first down. Excited to see what he can do now. Having a full week in camp, or full week in practice, they basically just said, get on the plane, let's go to Vegas and see if you can catch a football last week. So now he's actually been there for a little bit. And then the Chiefs do what they always do, which is the deep defense shows up in the biggest spots. First and goal from the 3-yard line, just shut him down 4 times in a row. Don't know why anybody tries to run on the Chiefs defense. It's the best run defense in several years, and it's the best defense in the NFL. But once again, Raiders could not get anything going when they needed to the most. They hung around just enough to be able to backdoor cover late. That's why it was always just Mahomes passing touchdowns. He got his 2, and we just win again. Chiefs just do what they need to do, get wins, and we continue to move on undefeated.
That was insane. The Raiders got the ball on the Chiefs 4-yard line with a chance to tie the game or go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. And what do? They didn't even run the ball. They're over here doing all this dumb stuff.
Well, they
And
did try to run it on. They tried to run it 3 plays in a row, and then on
yeah,
4th down they telegraphed the run or telegraphed the pass, and then they got sacked by Furious George.
I mean, what are they doing? How do you not punch that in? You have a chance to take the lead on the world champs 2-peat, give them their first loss of the season, and you can't even convert on that. Come on. It's just disgraceful.
No
And
surprise.
then
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I know, but at least they did get the backdoor cover for me. That was clutch. I figured that happened against the Chiefs. They hate winning by a lot.
That's right. It's the second week in a row where the Chiefs have pretty much been in control the whole second half. And then the team scored late on them. Of course, against the 49ers, they were underdogs in that game. So it didn't really matter whether they won there by 18 or 10. For spread fans, it did matter for the Ravens or for the Raiders game. But yeah, Chiefs now 2 back-to-back weeks scoring over 25 points. So the offense starting to get clicking just a little bit. And right in time for a really bad defense this week. So that'll be fun. And then, of course, the defense is just phenomenal. They don't let anybody ever get more than 25 points. So it's just that simple. Now we'll go on to a game that both teams really needed, and the Sunday night game, and that was Niners Cowboys. And I just got to say, the Cowboys are the most mediocre team I could think of in the NFL. If I was to pick the most mediocre team, close my eyes and pick them, I would have to either say the Colts or the Cowboys. And that's not good company to be in when you're Jerry Jones and you think you've got a Super Bowl contender.
That was a rough one to watch, especially just seeing the way Dak can't even move. He used to be good at running the football, and now he can't move at all. And especially without having a rushing attack, that offense definitely is capped, and they can't reach that high of a ceiling. So I don't expect much from the Cowboys the rest of the year. They'll be mediocre for sure.
Absolutely. Just more interceptions. I cashed on a Dak pick. And then by that time in the National Tight Ends Day, it was just obvious that George Kittle was going to have to get a touchdown because everybody on National Tight Ends Day was getting him, and he's the one that invented it. So even though they threw 2 flags on the play, they said, "Nah, we got to let Georgie get his touchdown." So that fired me up. And we'll just have to put a pin in that, make a note for next year. 4th Sunday of October. We'll play the tight ends that week because I think we missed out on a little bit of opportunity there. But yeah, those were my main takeaways from last week in football. Any more that you want to touch on?
Yeah, let's keep it moving. It was a good week, but we got more action this week. Let's get to it.
All right, here we go. Week 9, is that right? Are we already on a week 9 of the NFL season?
Absolutely. Starting off Thursday night, the Texans are traveling to New York to go play Aaron Rodgers. And this team has lost, 5 games in a row? And they're still favored against the Texans, one of the top 10 teams in the league. What are your thoughts on this one, Brett?
Well, it's either the biggest trap in the world or it's the most free money in the world. The Packers were certainly a trap last week. I thought that was free money against the Jaguars, and it turns out they soiled it by half a point. Now, it didn't help that Jordan Love got hurt in that one, but still, they absolutely blew a nice 4th quarter lead to not be able to win by at least 4 points. Texans, they're the better team, but I mean, I'm definitely going to be on the side of the Texans, but I see an avenue, I guess, for the Jets. It's just the fact that the Jets have 2 wins and they're against the 2 worst teams in the conference. And even though they're only 1-2, or they're only 2-1 against those 2 worst teams in the conference, the Titans and the Patriots, because they just lost the Patriots the second time around. So the Texans are clearly a better team, but the Texans have not been winning convincing games. That's for sure. Another week, another eking out a win at home against the mediocre Colts team. So I see how I see an avenue where the Jets do win this game. I just don't think they win it more than 50% of the time.
I'm with that. I like the Texans in this one too, especially because they're even though obviously losing Diggs is bad and already being without Collins is going to make them struggle, but you got to understand that Joe Mixon is the one that's been carrying this offense. He's running like one of the best running backs in the league right now, and that's the big weakness of this Jets defense is that rushing attack. They've been getting gashed, and I like them to rely on Joe Mixon to carry them to victory this week.
Yeah, I like the Texans too. It just scares me because the whole public's going to be on the Texans, just like everybody was for the Packers, or everybody was for the Vikings last week on Thursday, when of course they ended up not winning. So it scares me just a little bit, just because everyone's going to be hammering the Texans, but I'm going to be on them as well. Just probably being a little bit hesitant and understanding that it could go a different way. Another game that I want to talk about for Sunday in this one is going to be my favorite old two teams in the NFC, the Bears and the Cardinals. It completes the round robin of my three NFC darlings this year. Cardinals have already played Washington, and Washington's already played Chicago. Now they play each other, and I'm excited for this one. It's another one where I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it. Cardinals have climbed all the way to top of the NFC West. Are you ready to give those guys their flowers yet? Or are the Bears going to come to town and get some revenge after they lost in a Hail Mary?
I like the Bears in this one. I think Caleb Williams is going to have a lot more time to throw and take a step forward from his step back that he just took in his last game. And Kyler Murray is going to be playing some Call of Duty this week. Might not have that offense absolutely,
You can't use
firing
that
on all
excuse every
cylinders.
single week. I mean, come on. You can't use that excuse every week.
I think it's going to happen. I don't know. I believe in his ability to his KD ratio will be up there, but I don't know about his completion percentage, and he's
Was it
probably
up
going to be
there
getting
last
sacked
week?
against the.
Excuse me, was it up there last week when they were underdogs?
All right. But I mean, that's true. He did do pretty solid, but whatever. I'm not rocking with the Cardinals this week. Bears are taking it down.
Fair enough. Any other game you want to look at before we talk about Lions football? Because that's the game of the
Uh,
week. There's really no other games that really jump out on the screen.
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I do think that the Broncos going to Baltimore have a decent chance.
Oh no.
I might sprinkle in a little money line with them, but definitely taking the spread. Bo Nix has been playing really good.
One of my friends wants to shout out Bo Nix. He says, "You don't know Bo because I always discredit Bo Nix, and he thinks that I need to put respect on Bo Nix's names." But I just don't know if I can be riding with Bo Nix and the Broncos. They've still yet to beat anybody that's that great. I mean, I'm still yet to see like, wow, Broncos, what a great win they had. They beat the Buccaneers, I guess, when the Buccaneers were decent. Other than that, I think they've just been beating up on some chumps.
I like what Bo's doing here. He's been ascending. Everyone's been focusing on Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. Let's give Bo Nix some love. I'll take the Broncos to cover. But yeah, I think it all comes down to this 4 o'clock window next Sunday. That's when you really gotta have your attention focused. Am I a really exciting game I like. We already talked about the Rams a little bit. They're going to Seattle this week. How do you like that game, Brent?
Yeah, Rams in Seattle. That's a very interesting one because it's a logjam now in the NFC West. All four teams have four losses. Rams are just a half a game behind because they've already had their bye at 3-4. Everybody else 500 exactly. And so a massive game. I was on the Seahawks kind of for the first time all year against the Bills, and they royally let me down. So it's going to be hard for me to trust them, especially when the Rams were so dope last week for me. I don't know though. I'm hesitant. It's going on the road. It's kind of one of these classic spots where the Rams, everyone's high on them now after their big win of the season. Seahawks are at home. It depends on if the Seahawks get healthy or not. They were missing DK last week. I think that really hurt them and their ability to be able to stretch the field and come up with big plays against the Bills. And I think they're going to need to be able to do that against the Rams because I think the Rams offense is going to be able to move the ball. So if I have to pick, I think I'm going with the Rams, but this is one that I'll probably just try to watch and observe instead of really feel like I have a good side in it.
I think the Rams are the side. You did bring up good points. Geno Smith is playing well. I just think this is going to be a high scoring game, a lot of action, and I think Stafford just absolutely excels in that environment. He'll be able to win a shootout this week. I think it'll definitely be interesting, though. Let's see.
Now we'll talk about some Lions Packers. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Lions Packers. First of all, the big question for me is Jordan Love going to play? He got banged up, missed the end of that Jaguars game, like we talked about with the groin injury. Malik Willis came in. Willis has been good. All 3 games he's played in, they've won. You know, he held on to help him beat the Jaguars. But I think obviously their offense is limited if it is Jordan Love. And the way the Lions have been rolling, do you expect this offense to? No way they can keep scoring at this rate, though.
I mean, probably not going to put up 50, but I think 35 is definitely in the cards here this week. The Packers defense just gave up 27 to the Jags, and we all know how they're bottom dwellers. So I don't see any reason why the Lions can't put up a solid 35 points. And especially because, we've been able to do it whichever way we like. So Ben Johnson is going to be able to say, you know what, this is how we can attack their secondary in certain ways. We just have so many weapons where it's like you can't stop it all. It's impossible. Even with JMO being out this week with his suspension, if we want to run the ball, we'll run it. If we want to throw it, we'll throw it. Give me the Lions. Like, I'm sorry. After these last few weeks, the way Goff's been playing, you can't tell me there's anyone that's going to be able to stop him.
Uh, Trust me, I'm a big fan of the Lions. I've got a couple concerns though. For one, Lions, the 2 weeks ago they had that big win in Minnesota, right? They win on the road in division. It's a dogfight. Comes down to the very last play. It looked like either team could have won it in the final 2 minutes. Now it's the same thing with the Packers, who you seem to just think are even a little bit better than the Vikings. And then we've got the fact that now this is a game outdoors. This is in Lambeau. It's not going to be in the confines of a dome, which is where Goff and this really electric Lions offense looks their best. So I've got some concerns here going on the road in the division.
It's definitely going to be a tricky one. That's why 3.5, you want to take it, but it's also a little scary. I could definitely see this coming down to a similar type of game as the Vikings game where it's back and forth and, the Lions end up getting it done at the end. It's going to be a good game, but yeah, you never know, especially the Lions can't get that good of a pass rush, and Jordan Love is back there just absolutely throwing it all over the field. Could get a little scary for the Lions, but I think we'll get it done nice and easy. Let's go.
And then we'll talk about the 2 late games, the Sunday night and the Monday night game. Sunday night has been flexed. Colts, Vikings, Joe Flacco. Anthony Richardson's taken himself out of the lineup, and Flacco is in. Vikings looking for a win after 2 straight losses. And then Monday night, we've got the Buccaneers coming to Arrowhead. We'll see if I'm there or not. Maybe. But the Chiefs are playing the beat up Bucks, and they have no wide receivers, and their defense is a sieve. So looks signs point well to Kansas City this week. Big spread there. It'll probably be another one where I'll just play the Rashad White under. Just take the under of the rushing yards of the other team. It hasn't hit yet this season. So I'll just take some Rashad White under. Might take some K. Dotton over and some Mahomes over as well, and DeAndre Hopkins over. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And I think the Vikings get it done against the Colts.
Well, I'm not on the same boat as you again on these late primetime games, Brent. I like the Colts. Joe Flacco, he's shown that he can throw the ball well. The Vikings are on a bit of a slide here. I think there's a decent chance it continues. The Colts have been playing pretty solid, actually. I think that it's been their quarterback holding them back. He's been one of the worst players in the league so far this year. And having Flacco step up, it's going to be an instant improvement from what we've seen, even though they almost beat the Texans last week with Richardson. So I like the Colts at least +5. That's got to be a nice little bet coming in Sunday night. And then moving over to the Bucks, I mean, it's so easy. Just bet the Chiefs spread. They always give them these big spreads. Just bet against the Chiefs on their spread. It happens every time. I'm sitting in the Bucks plus 8.5. I mean, they're not going to lose by that much. If anything, it'll be a close game. I mean, the Chiefs will probably be up by like 14, and the Bucks will just go down and score a touchdown right at the end. I don't see why not. Or what also could happen is the Bucks could just, about to win the game, and the refs give it to the Chiefs. That'll still end up being probably an 8 point in between 8 points of victory for the Chiefs. So between 0 and 8 points. So I'm liking that. Give me the Bucks spread, and hey, maybe they squeak out a victory, and that would be hey, that's still gonna hit.
How many times have you hit when you bet against the Chiefs money line this year?
Oh yeah, I don't do that anymore.
Or anymore? Because you failed on that a couple times early on. You learned your lesson. The Chiefs are 0 in that loss column. That's certainly going to stay. The margin is up for debate. That's why the Chiefs spread would not be my play, but my plays will certainly be Hopkins over yards, Otten over yards for Tampa Bay. They got nobody else to throw it to, and under yards for Rashad White. And I do think Colts 5 points. I could play with 5 points. I think the Vikings win that one by a field goal. My upset pick of the week, though, is going to be that same guy. He's hungry for more W's. Jameis Winston and the Browns at home against the Chargers. Chargers are a team that doesn't really like to score points. And the Browns now, they may have found something offensively, and the Browns still have a good defense. Whether you agree with how they're doing offensively, I mean, obviously the record's not good, but really, even recently, it was kind of coming on. Maybe we should have seen this one coming a little bit more because they played the Eagles down to the wire on the road. Then last week they played the Bengals to just a one-score game. Then they get the win when they get a new quarterback in that can actually move the ball and has a better passing game than Deshaun Watson's ever had in his career with that team. So absolutely, Browns at home as underdogs against a Chargers team that can't move the ball or can't score points. Give me Jameis. Let me get another dub.
I like it. The Browns do have a good defense, and hey, if they win that, they're right there in the mix to try to go on a little run here and sneak into that seventh position of the wild card. Wouldn't that be something? Seeing Jameis bring a team all the way back from the depths to the wild card. Holy cow. Well,
And
imagine those pregame
if
speeches. It would be
Flacco did it
absolutely
for him
electric.
last year, why can't Jameis do it this year? I don't know about wild card. I'm not ready to talk that much, but it is wide open in the AFC. However, I will just say Browns, money line. That's underdog better pick of the week. Any other bets you want to talk about before we get to a 12 pack?
Let's get to the 12 pack.
All right. So Luke's turn this week to reel off his top 12 teams in the NFL. I'll just run through my list last week. Of course, I would change it a little bit now because of the results of this week's games. But last week, here is what I had. At number 1, Chiefs. Number 2, Lions. Ravens 3, Vikings 4, Packers 5, Texans 6, Commanders 7, Bills 8, 49ers 9, Bears 10, Steelers 11, and Bengals 12. Luke, you ready?
Yep, starting off, we got the Falcons, number 12. That division's starting to slide a little bit as a whole, but I still think they're top of the division. They're going to be able to get a home playoff game this year and win that division. Number 11, the Vikings, starting their slide, but I think, this is about the spot where they need to be right now. They're going to have to be able to win a game with Sam Darnold not playing great, the way he has been at the very start of the year. Let's show me something in November, and then we can move the Vikings back up. Number 10, the Eagles have been playing. The Eagles have been playing better, so I'm gonna have to put them in here. They beat the Bengals. I had the Bengals in last week. Got to move the Eagles in. Then I'm dropping San Fran this week. I think, they are getting healthier, but I'm just gonna have to wait and see whenever McCaffrey gets out there what they're looking like. They probably will move back up. But right now, I gotta have at number 8, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're a better team than the 49ers if they play tomorrow. I like what Russell Wilson's doing, what he adds to this offense. That deep ball he threw to George Pickens last week, looked like vintage Russ, and if they've got him, it's going to be scary for the rest of that league with the defense. All right, moving on, we got the Texans at number 7. I mean, they're winning these close games, but I feel like they have to move down a little bit after what we've seen from them. And Brent, how about you talk about those bottom 6? Do you like it so far?
Yeah, let me give you my first inputs. Well, there's a team on here that I don't see that it makes me a little upset because I think they deserve it. Actually, two of them, the two teams that are playing this week, Bears and Cardinals. I would have both of those guys in there, but I do understand that we got to finally show love for the Eagles. Maybe this is the time it's come to. Last week, they were one of the teams I was debating for that 12 spot, but I thought the Bengals were going to win the matchup. So I had Bengals at 12. Eagles, it's time to finally put some respect on your name. I still think Sirianni is going to screw it up one way or another. But right now, Eagles are definitely a top 12 team in the NFL. So, yeah, I like that so far. I think we have to admit Eagles, Vikings really low. I think that may be an overreaction, but we'll go on and see the final 6.
All right,
I
moving
know
on.
who they are real quick.
You know who they are?
Yes, I do. I do. I do. We got 3 AFC, 3 NFC. We've got 2 from the NFC North, 1 from the NFC East, and then from the AFC, we've got a West, a North, and an East.
You're on it, B. Hess. And starting off, we're going to the NFC East with the Commanders. They could have easily taken the loss, but Jaden Daniels is showing that he's a premier, not even rookie in the league, just player in the league, one of the best players in the league so far this year. And the defense is starting to turn up too. So watch out for those commies, like we've been saying all year. At 5, got to move the Ravens down here. I was really debating between the Commanders and the Ravens at 5, but I was like, a few weeks ago, the Ravens do handle the Commanders pretty easily, so I'll give the nod to them at 5, even though they need to be able to beat these bad teams they're playing, like the Raiders and Browns. You can't lose games. Moving on, the Green Bay Packers at 4, and the Buffalo Bills at 3. Now,
Uh,
this is another little tier where it's like I don't know where to put these two teams. They both have flaws and they both, do things really well, especially on offense. So I think right now it has to be Packers, then Bills, just from what we've seen in recent weeks. And then obviously once we get to the top 2, it seems like there's such a big gap. I don't know if it's just me and you or just how the league is this year, but these top 2 teams, there's a huge gap between the rest of the league, in my opinion, from what we've seen so far this year.
we're just the only two that are smart enough to realize that are very early on in the year. Everybody
Yeah.
else had Vikings up there, then they had Bills up there and Ravens up there. But we always knew who the top 2 teams were, and that's why Hesse Bros Pod is the number 1 spot for all your football coverage because we don't miss very often.
That's right. My number 1 team on the list is not missing anymore either. Number 1, Detroit Lions. I'm ready to say it. Like
Oh
the
my
Detroit
god!
Lions are better than the Chiefs.
As you beat the Titans, that's okay. Just forget everything I just said about us knowing ball.
We're
One
better
of us
than
knows
the Chiefs.
ball. This guy, absolutely. Let's throw a banner. Beat the Titans. Woo! 50 points against the Titans. That is hilarious.
No,
Hilarious. That's every week. That's another team. Who's better than the Chiefs this week? Oh, it was a couple weeks ago, it was the Vikings. Then last week, oh, it was the Ravens. This week, that's fine. That's a kiss of death for the Lions. That means they're going to lose to the Packers. If people, as soon as people start thinking a team's better than the Chiefs, they lose. The one team that doesn't lose, Kansas City.
the Lions are better than the Chiefs. Our quarterback is playing better, undoubtedly. Our defense is probably a little worse, but we're able to stop the other teams from scoring a lot of points. And whenever it comes down to this offense, man, the Chiefs are still working in all these different pieces. If the Lions and Chiefs played tomorrow, you can't tell me the Lions wouldn't be a field goal favorite.
It
I
doesn't
mean,
matter who's a favorite. It matters who would win at the end of the game. And it
and
would be
we would
the
win.
Chiefs.
We would probably win by a touchdown because I'd still hammer the Lions, and I think most people would. I feel like you can say because obviously they won the Super Bowls, they're undefeated, they have to stay atop the list. Well, this isn't the rankings. This is who is the best team right now? The 12 pack, the number one team in the league. It's the Detroit Lions, best team in football. And hey, that's what I believe. If the Lions are going to lose because of it, it is what it is. I know we aren't going to lose in February, though. Hopefully we make it, but
Right.
yeah.
Well, look, I don't know what more to say besides I just let you have it. Packers, I guess, are probably going to win this week. Lions, clearly the second best team in football. I don't think that's arguable. Chiefs, obviously number one. Just because the Chiefs don't have the most points per game or they don't do the most trick plays doesn't mean they're not the best football team because they just do what it takes to win games. They're not out here trying to get number one in the rankings. It's not the BCS poll. They don't have to try to qualify for the championship game. They'll just do it in January by beating all these sorry AFC teams and then taking down whatever team wants to be a part of the historic first ever NFL three-peat. If that's the Lions that want to get rained down in red and gold confetti in February, then be my guest.
I hear there's going to be a parade in Detroit come February time. I already got my tickets booked, B Hesse. But hey, that's all I got to say about that. That's going to be lit.
Well, you know what, Luke? It's not the best 12 pack we've had. It tastes a little skunked at the end. Looks like you may have left a couple of them out in the warmth for too long. They didn't get refrigerated properly. But that's all right. Overall, we can live with it. I'm excited for another great week of football. The Lions Packers game is the highlight of the week, and I'll be looking forward to that one. I'm definitely going to be locked into a couple of those other ones as well, including Thursday night. Jets, Texans, and of course, Seahawks, Rams is going to be a good one. And the Chiefs, Monday night against the Buccaneers in Arrowhead Stadium. My place for Chiefs football, over Hopkins, over Otten, under Rachaad White. And then I will also take a money line Browns. Give underdog better another win. As underdog better popped last week. I don't know if you're aware, but I had Rams and Cardinals, both hits. So we're ready to do it again this week with the Browns.
There you go, B Hesse. I'm actually on the Browns, or I'm on the Broncos this week, not the Browns, the other orange team. I think they can take down the Ravens, and if not, at least throw in the spread too. Cover your losses because they're not losing by more than 10, in my opinion. Also, going down the list here, I think the Bears are able to get it done. Rams, of course, Lions. Give me the Buccaneers against the Chiefs. Why not? And the Colts. Those are my bets of the week. And hey, might as well throw in a little Demo touchdown. It's gonna work. It always does. David Montgomery, what a beast. And I'm excited to watch some football this week.
That's another episode of the Hesse Bros Pod. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down below some of your favorite plays or where you disagree with Luke's 12 pack. It got off the rails there a little bit at the end. But we will be back again next week to talk some more football. Enjoy. And thanks for watching.